Well, no, stone cold penalty. Well, no, referee's fault, but, you know, if they don't have regular eye tests, then what do you expect? Hang on, mate. What?
You'd be on that phone for hours. Don't you worry about your bill?
Mate, I'll call you back later on. Yeah, a bit of a domestic. Look, I've got this amazing deal. It's like 1,000 texts, 600 minutes, and free calls to anyone on the same network, all for £20 a month.
Yeah, but I bet you had to pay for this phone as well, didn't you?
Well, yeah, 180 quid.
180 quid? I do like it. But how do you know you've got the best deal?
What do you mean?
Well, say you were paying £35 a month on an 18-month contract, but this phone was totally free. Would that be better?
Not sure. Can I phone a friend?
Ugh, off you go. I'll text you the address of some people that might be able to help you, and I'll stay here and work with straight line graphs and see if we can work out which is the better deal. Go on. Off you go.
I'll call you.
Thanks. But how can we use straight line graphs to help us choose the best phone deal? Well, first, what we need to do is create a formula that defines just how much Dave's phone costs him each month. So if we start by looking at how much Dave paid when he first got his phone. Let's have a look. In the first month, it cost him £180 for the actual phone and £20 for the pay-as-you-go package. And that gives him £200. So in month 2, it was £180 plus 2 lots of 20, which is £220. And after 3 months, it was £180 plus 3 lots of 20, so that's £240. But we do something clever here. If we use M to represent the number of months that Dave has had his phone, then we've got the cost of his phone equals 180 plus 20 times M, which we can then simplify to C equals 180 plus 20M. Now we'll draw a graph of this a little later on, and then we'll compare it with the contract. But first, let's find out what other phone users think.
So what do you think's better, pay-as-you-go or contract?
I like pay-as-you-go because you don't have to use as much text and stuff, and I don't text as much, so I can pay for what I want.
Okay, what about you, Adam?
I prefer contracts. You get the free phone, so you don't have to spend loads on getting a good phone. You don't
have to pay one big lump sum, you just get to spend a bit over the time. Okay, well, so it's 50-50 at the moment. Pay as you go, you can control your spending, but with contract you can text as many people as you like. Okay. Oh, here's a text. Enough talking. Nice. I want you to do some maths now. I'd like to know which deal will cost you less over 18 months if the contract is for 18 months, and that's how long you would keep the phone for in either case. So, the pay-as-you-go is £20 per month plus 180 for the phone. So how much is £20 per month times 18? Izzy?
Well, 18 by 10 would be 180, so times by 2 would be 360.
So 360 for pay-as-you-go plus 180 for the phone though.
540?
There you go. So remember, 540 for the pay-as-you-go. Now on the contract, it's £35 per month for 18 months, but with a free phone. So what's 35 times 18, Andy?
Well, if you do 35 times 20, it would be 700.
Yep.
And if you take off the 2 months that you added from the 18, that would be take away 70, which is 630.
See, we're good at maths here. So 630 for the contract and 540 for the pay-as-you-go. So pay-as-you-go is much cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Simple.
Right, if you remember, we did actually come up with a formula for the pay-as-you-go deal. And that formula is here, and it was C, so that's the cost of the phone, equals 180 plus 20M. Now what we can do is plot that on a graph just by putting 2 or more coordinate values. So let's do that. So we've got our axes, and the bottom axis, so that's the x-axis, that's going to be the M value, the number of months, and on the y-axis, that's going to be the C value, so that's going to be the cost. Now we'd already worked out that M equals 1, so month 1, then the cost was 200, so we could put that on straight away. Let's do that. There we go. Now, we've also got another one, so when M equals 6, C equals 300, and we can pop that one on. But it's always good to have a third as a bit of a safety net, as a check. So let's do M equals 3. Now when M equals 3, C equals 180 plus 20 times 3, and that gives you, let me work it out, 240. And here we go, and we can join those all up, and that gives us a lovely line. But it only gives us a line for Dave's pay-as-you-go phone. But what we need to do now is get a line for the contract. But we need to come up with a formula first. So for the contract phone, that was actually free, but it costs £35 a month, every month, for your calls and texts. So for 1 month, that would be C, cost, equals 0 plus 35 times 1, which of course you know is 35. Then after month 2, it would be C equals 0 plus 35 times 2, 70. But what we can do now is do it for m months, so that's any number of months. And then the cost, C, would equal 0 plus 35 times m. Now, as you know, you can actually simplify that because there's no need to write zeros in this case, and that becomes C equals 35m. Now, what we can do with this type of formula is put in any values for m. So let's say 6 months, that's always a good one. So C would be 35 times 6, which is £210. So let's take all these points and plot them on the same graph that we just had. So we've got 135, we've got 270, and we've got 210. And if we join them all up, let's see what happens. Now, don't forget to extend the line as far as you can, because you might be missing out on some really useful information. But let's have a look at what we've got. Well, you can see that for the first few months, it's the contract phone that's lower, isn't it? And you know what lower means? It means it's actually costing less. And let's follow it up and up. Where the two lines intersect, that's where both deals cost exactly the same. And we can see that this is at exactly 12 months. Now, after this point, it's the pay-as-you-go phone that's lower, and that means that after 12 months, it costs less. So Dave has actually, believe it or not, got the better deal, but only if he keeps his phone for that long. Did you work out that up until 12 months, it's the contract that's the better deal, but then after that, it's the pay-as-you-go that works out best?
Well, sort of. We just knew that overall, pay-as-you-go is cheaper than contract.
If you keep it for more than 12 months, yes.
Of course I will.
But do you ever use internet or email on your phone?
Yeah, sometimes, not all the time, but yeah, I do.
Well, did you know that every day that you do, they charge you 25p extra?
So that's why my bill's sometimes higher than other months.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how many times in a day you use it, they only charge you once. But if you were on contract, it would be completely free. So here's a new problem. Can you work out how many days in a month you can use the internet so that at 18 months, both deals cost exactly the same?
Right, nice and easy then. Thanks. All right then, guys, so how do we work this one out?
Firstly, the contract is £630 and the
Right.
pay-as-you-go is £540. So the difference we've got left to spend is £90.
So we've got £90 to spend over 18 months. So how many times can we use the internet then?
You have to divide 90 by 0.25 to work out how many days you can have from your extra £90.
Right, so what's that then?
360.
So it's 360 times you can use it within the 18 months. But how do you work out how many times you can use it per month though?
It's 360 divided by 18, so it's 20 days per month.
Nice. So in a month, I can use it 20 times.
Yeah.
I want to get on it now.
We can also use graphs to help us solve a problem like this. We know that Dave's phone cost him £180. So that means when m equals 0, like when he first got his phone, then the cost is £180. And we can plot this coordinate, it's 0, 180, right there. And we also know that the maximum we want to spend after 18 months is the same as the contract, so that's £630. And that gives the coordinate 18, 630, which we can also plot right up there. Now we don't know any other coordinates because we don't have a formula. So let's just join up the 2 points we do have. Yeah, and we get a line. Now looking at this new graph, we can use it and work out some more information. We know that we're looking at the cost over 18 months. So by looking at this graph, we can also see the monthly costs. If we draw a triangle, it should be able to help us find the difference in coordinates by finding the change in costs and the change in the number of months. So the change in the number of months is from 0 to 18. So that obviously gives us 18 months. And the change in cost, well, this is from 180 all the way up to 630. So what we need to do is take 630 minus 180, and that gives us £450. So the cost per month is 450 divided by 18, which gives us £25. And that £25 means that Dave can spend up to this per month for his pay-as-you-go and his internet. And we can use this to create a formula for our new line. And that formula is C equals 180 plus 25M. And if you remember back to that original formula that we had, that was C equals 180 plus 20M. Now this means that Dave is already paying £20 for his normal phone usage, and that leaves £5 for his internet usage per month. And we know that each day the internet costs 25p. And because he's got £5 spare to spend, that is 500p. So what we've got to do is divide 500p by 25p, and that gives 20. So as long as he uses the internet on 20 days or fewer a month, then he won't be spending more than the contract. Now mathematicians call this change in y direction divided by the change in x direction the gradient of the straight line. Now a gradient, what that does is it actually tells you how steep a graph is. But in this case, we're not using x and y, we're using c and m. So we're actually looking at the change in c divided by the change in m. So that means we've got 630 minus 180 divided by 18 minus 0. And that gives us 450 divided by 18, which is 25. And that's exactly the £25 per month that we worked out earlier. So the new formula that we worked out, C equals 180 plus 25M, then the cost per month is £25, and 25 is also the gradient of the line. Hey Dave, have you worked out how many days you can use the internet?
Yeah, 20 times a month, which is about every 2 out of 3 days.
Ooh, do you know what? You're better at this than I thought you were going to be.
We're a good team.
Tell you what, check your email, because I've sent you a picture as a prize.
Okay. Ooh, it's nice.
It's the latest touchscreen phone, and it would be completely free if you were on contract. But because you are on pay-as-you-go, what's the maximum you could pay for that phone and still be better off after 18 months?
I think I better phone a friend. Hi, is that Cara Vorderman? Yeah, have you got a minute?
Remember, with straight line graphs, the gradient of the line is defined as change in y divided by change in x. And this is a measure of how steep the graph is, just like here. And it forms an important part of your formula. In our example, it was the cost per month.
Hi there, can I get a taxi? Yeah, and NW10? Yeah, I'm at Queen's... Hello? Hello? Oh, I've run out of credit. How am I going to book a taxi now? Excuse me, do you know the way to the station?
Oh, it's that way.
Thanks.